Alrighty, week 11 of the NFL season is essentially in the books at this point. Going to go ahead and break down these games. Once again, another pretty solid week of picks through and through that I had. Good record so far. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and start with the Thursday night football matchup between the Patriots and the Jets. And early on in this game, looked like it was going to be a bit closer than we thought. Fields had an early touchdown, but the Patriots, they figured it out. They found a way to grind out the Jets, and they found a way to win this game overall. Creds to those jerseys that they wore. I was a fan of the new colors. Diggs, seems like in these big games, he performs. 9 catches, 105 yards. This Patriots team, 9-2, extremely legit, have a really good possible chance at the number 1 seed. Moving on to the last 9:30 game of the NFL season in Madrid. And this is an overtime game that we had. It was one where the Commanders got off to an early 13-6 lead. Then the Dolphins were able to tie it up. Dolphins really should have won this game by a lot more, but they had some limitations when they got into the red zone. But overall, they figured it out. They get another victory, improved to 4-7. And it seemed like everything was off the rails for them. Now, the Commanders are obviously super limited right now, but Miami, got to give them props. In a lost season, they're finding ways to, at the very least, be competitive and win some of these close games. Moving on to the Sunday slate of 1 o'clock games here, we'll start with the Chargers and the Jaguars. And this was my shocker. One of the few games that I didn't pick correctly of the entire week. And the Chargers, their injuries really showed in this game. And I got to give credit to where credit is due to the Jaguars. I've been kind of bashing them, saying that they're not that legitimate of a team, and they came out and they did this against a really solid Chargers team, albeit a lot of injuries on the Chargers side. But the Jaguars played really well in this game, and they win 35-6 in kind of a shocker. Next up, you had a team that was on upset alert, the Green Bay Packers, and for whatever reason, they play down to weaker competition on seemingly a week-to-week basis. Now, they were able to secure this win, finish the job, but Jameis Winston almost went in there and got a victory against this Green Bay Packers team. So it's something to watch out for when you're talking about Green Bay. If they want to compete for things like the Super Bowl this year, they need to be more on it, and they need to be more focused when it comes to these games. There was moments in this where they just made a lot of really dumb mistakes. So they were still able to win this game, but we'll see where they're at moving forward. Next up, you have the Bears and the Vikings, and it looks like for a second that the Bears were going to do exactly what they did in that first game against Minnesota and choke the game away. But this is a new Bears team. It's a new culture with Ben Johnson. They actually win the go either way games. And I'm really glad that the Bears won because the Vikings didn't get an opportunity to bail out J.J. McCarthy for playing absolutely terrible in this game. He looked bad. 2 interceptions in this game, pretty much no offensive rhythm whatsoever until that long kickoff return that jolted them some momentum. Mind you, this is not J.J. McCarthy playing this game on the road. It's a home game as well. The weather's not a factor. You're inside. I think he's terrible, but for Minnesota, you got to roll with it at this point. At the same time, though, they're not paying him, so we'll see. We'll see what they end up doing, but I think when we look back at it, it's going to be one of the all-time mistakes that the Vikings did not hold on to Sam Darnold, and they went with an unproven J.J. McCarthy that I think is terrible. Caleb Williams is actually really improving, according to my radar. The more that I watch him, the more that I like Caleb Williams with some of the things he's able to do, the size, the raw talent, some of that stuff that you can kind of see from him. You can see the strength in the arm. So he's a prospect on the rise. J.J. McCarthy's one on the decline. Bears get an emotional 19-17 win over the Vikings. 7-3 for the Bears. Moving on, you add another game that was a lot closer than we thought, but you do have to factor C.J. Stroud still out with the Texans and the Titans. If you look at them, we've been saying this week after week after week. but they just don't have enough weapons to compete. They've been in turmoil this year. Texans luckily find a way to win. They're back to 500, puts them back in the race, and hopefully they can get CJ Stroud back and they can have a chance to contend. Next up, you had probably the highest build game and most hyped up game of the early window, the Bills and the Buccaneers. And Josh Allen just went out there and said, I'm going to put this team on my back and I'm not going to let us lose. And that's what he did. And my prediction came to reality. I figured the Bills would come in this game inspired after that terrible loss to Miami. And that's exactly what they did. Josh Allen rushes for 3 touchdowns. Also, he played really well in this game through and through. And I don't even think it was that Baker played bad. I just think that Josh Allen went Superman mode and did everything that he needed to do for them to win. Next up, you had the Panthers and the Falcons. And this is another overtime game that we got. And this is another game that I got incorrect. And I just assumed in this game that it was going to go either way. I had the Falcons by a point. And I will say it was Bryce Young's best game as a pro. He just needs to go out there and get the ball out of his hands as quick as possible. If he does that, he has a chance. The second that he hesitates, the defenders are too big. They just destroy him. But if he's able to quickly make reads to get the ball out of his hands, he is able to be decently efficient. Bijan Robinson had a good game. T-Mac, the young wide receiver, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. So they played a pretty complete game, and they found a way to beat the Falcons. Kirk Cousins walked into this game. He was terrible through and through. So I don't really know what the crazy collapse of Kirk Cousins is, but it's for real. And then you had the Bengals and the Steelers. This game was actually really competitive early on through a couple of the quarters. And then all of a sudden, the Bengals the wheels fell off. Jamar Chase did not have a good game in this one. Had the big controversy with Ramsey, who, that play probably falls on both of them. I'm sure that something happened to provoke Ramsey, and I'm sure Ramsey provoked him. So I'd say that's a wash. Both of them are kind of deserving for that. So I think it should have been a double penalty, but Ramsey gets ejected. And if you look at it, the Steelers team, they didn't look that great. They didn't do anything that spectacular, but they were just more reliable in this game. They were at home, and the Bengals kind of quit. Bengals kind of quit at the end of this game, and that's why the Steelers are 6-4 right now, and the Bengals are a pathetic 3-7 right now, given the expectations for this team. And I know Joe Burrow's out, but it's just a really tough pill to swallow for Bengals fans this year, that's the result overall. Moving to the second window, you had a game between the 49ers and the Cardinals, and the Cardinals and what's crazy about this game, Brissett breaks the NFL record for completions in a game, 47. He was 47 of 57 for 452 yards. That's pretty crazy if you look at it, but the Cardinals, they just go down by so much early, and they can't crawl their way back. A lot of their touchdowns are in garbage time. They're pretty terrible. Then you look at the 49ers. They look pretty good. Any team in the NFL probably would beat the Cardinals right now, so we'll see when they start playing real competition. Next up, you add the Seahawks and the Rams. So I did predict the Rams would win this game. I just figured they were at home. You have the more veteran quarterback in Matt Stafford. And I actually think that if you're Seattle, you should actually be thrilled with this outcome. Your quarterback, Sam Darnold, could not have played a worse game. He had 4 picks, could not have played a worse game, and you still had a shot to win on that last field goal, albeit they missed it. But still, your quarterback could not have played worse, and you only lose by 2 points. That is a great sign for Seattle. This is more alarming for the Rams, in my opinion, than the Seahawks. Albeit, as I said, the Rams get this win. It's a big win. Seattle should be pretty happy that they even had a shot to be in this game. So that's something moving forward if in like a playoff game that should be taken into note. Then you had the Browns and the Ravens. Actually a pretty competitive game. Lamar Jackson was really disrupted in this one. This is one of the worst games. I think this is one of the worst games I've ever seen Lamar Jackson play in all of his career. Because he's a great regular season quarterback. I can't remember a worse game that he's played. So he did not play well today. Derrick Henry still has it somehow. It's really impressive what he's been able to do. And Shedeur Sanders gets his first opportunity. I think a lot of people are going to knock him online. A lot of people are going to knock him when it comes to ESPN and all the shows and stuff. I don't think he played terrible. I think he got put in that's a pretty tough spot to be put in. Divisional game against the Ravens, and in the second half when it's a close game, it's a tough spot to be put into. And I thought overall he didn't do great by any stretch of the imagination. Probably didn't even do good, but he did good enough, in my opinion, and made enough strides. And we'll see if Gabriel stays hurt. If he does get the opportunity to start a full game, that would be interesting. And you got to remember the Ravens have kind of been on fire at this point. Then you add another really great game between the Chiefs and the Broncos, and the Chiefs are 5-5. They might miss the playoffs. It's really possible. I think when you look at it, you don't think that that's possible, but it's certainly possible that the Chiefs could miss the postseason this year. Then you look at Denver, 9-2. There's been a lot of slander on Bo Nix. A lot of people really putting down Bo Nix. This is a franchise quarterback, whether you like it or not. A lot of people are against Bo Nix. I'm here to say he's a franchise quarterback, and he showed it. He went toe-to-toe with Mahomes, might have looked better than him, which is extremely impressive. Broncos are 9-2. If he can play the way he played today, then mixed with that defense, this Broncos team could be the real deal. So Chiefs are now 5-5, Broncos 9-2. At the time of this recording, the Sunday Night Football game has pretty much just begun. The Eagles lead 3-0 over the Lions. I do think that the Lions will power back and win that game. And then fast forwarding to Monday Night Football, my prediction for that game would be the Cowboys to beat the Raiders. Now, I could see it being close, but I think that Dallas should win. The spread's like 3.5. I think it's pretty safe to say that the Cowboys will cover in that one. And that will be it. With that being said, and look forward to Week 12 picks that will be released on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, as usual.